Hello and welcome to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's video, I will be talking about several different periods here of severe weather, also looking longer range into early May here as well. So I do welcome you back here to my video, and do click the subscribe button below here as I'm trying to get over 100 subscribers here. Also, crush that like button here at the end of the video if you like this video as well, and leave in your comments and questions below, as I'll be able to answer them all day and night. So looking here at the day one outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, the marginal risk of severe weather here extending from eastern Virginia down through the Carolinas and eastern portions of Georgia. We do have a very small slight risk or level 2 risk, 15% area of severe weather across eastern Virginia as well. No tornado areas here highlighted in the Storm Prediction Center's outlook today. However, there is a 5% and 15% wind risk as we head into especially eastern Virginia, but extending down here into portions of the Carolinas and into eastern Georgia, and a little bit of a hail risk zone here, a 5% hail risk across southern and eastern portions of Virginia, getting into far northern North Carolina here as we head into today. So I'll show you that here on the composite reflectivity. We got some broken line of storms here from western Virginia down through the western Carolinas and into portions of far eastern and northeastern Georgia. This will be by late afternoon here around 3-4 o'clock. This will continue to shift to the east and start to kind of back build down into eastern Georgia and kind of fill in this line a little bit. Some stronger storms, especially up into eastern Virginia and down into far northern portions here of North Carolina, could be strong enough to produce maybe an isolated tornado, but the tornado threat is very low today. Looking for maybe some large hailstones here up to around an inch to maybe an inch and a half in diameter, and potentially even some 60 to 65 mile per hour type wind gusts here across this area as well. And that threat will extend all the way down through South Carolina into portions of eastern Georgia as well. Then these storms will kind of move off here to the east coast as we head into this evening, and then these will kind of fade away as they kind of move off the coast as we head into the early to mid evening hours here tonight. Looking at here all the ingredients coming together for today, we do have instability values, especially with southward extent, getting into the 1,000 to 2,000 joules per kilogram type range here, especially from eastern and southern portions of Virginia, getting down to the Carolinas and eastern portions there of Georgia as well. Do have a little bit of some wind shear here that'll start to come into play as we head into the late afternoon, kind of a little displaced off to the west. Otherwise, this will be a more robust area here of severe weather, but it's kind of a little displaced, and this kind of come in a little later here with this instability. So that's why it's a lower marginal and slight risk zone here today rather than, a higher end event. But still some shear values getting into portions of the western Carolinas and into central and western Virginia, kind of nosing its way in here as we head to late this afternoon. Then tomorrow, we do have in day two risk area from the Storm Prediction Center, a marginal risk here from west central Kansas down through the Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle, southeastern portions there of Colorado, into eastern and northeastern portions there of New Mexico. Not looking at too much of a tornado risk again, but we are seeing here a marginal risk for wind and hail across those zones as we head into late tomorrow afternoon and into the evening hours. And then the day three categorical outlook from the Storm Prediction Center here, similar zone but slightly off to the east. We do have another marginal risk area here from southern Kansas down through west central Oklahoma into far northwest Texas here as we head into our Thursday this week as well. So let's look at this here on Wednesday for the composite reflectivity. All is quiet Wednesday afternoon. We got all that daytime heating start to, with warmer temperatures, those dew points will start to rise a little bit here as well. And then we get some thunderstorm activity start to initiate into portions of northeastern New Mexico, southeastern Kansas, and getting down here into southwestern southeastern Colorado, into southwestern Kansas, and the portions here of the Panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma. These will continue to shift off to the east here, could be providing the threat here for some large hail, mainly here with all that instability in play, maybe some downburst wind gusts that could be in excess of 60 miles per hour as well. And this will only continue here as we head into the early evening hours before the storms kind of fall apart here with the peak daytime heating starting to wane after sunset. Now, looking at the instability or cape in the atmosphere, especially across the Texas Panhandle, getting up into southwestern portions here of Kansas, and then back down, especially into eastern and northeastern portions there of New Mexico, we do have instability values kind of around the 1,000 to 1,500 range. So not a significant amount of instability, but just enough that you need for that severe weather here, that level 1 risk of severe weather that the Storm Prediction Center did put out here to get get some isolated to widely scattered severe weather as we head into our Wednesday afternoon and into the Wednesday evening time frame. Now, we do have a lot of lift. That lift is present across portions of eastern New Mexico into the Texas Panhandle. Kind of a little bit of that dry line starting to develop back into central New Mexico, slowly pushing its way eastward. And here you do have a little bit of shear overlapping that here. Not a lot of shear, but enough, probably up to around 25 to 35 knots worth of shear across this area. So some effective bulk layer shear, some deep layer flow coming in here out of the west, and that's where you're going to get that rolling motion here in the atmosphere. And that is also why, you know, there's a little bit of a supercell composite values, especially in the portions here of the Texas and Oklahoma Panhandle, maybe southwestern portions there of Kansas, southeastern Colorado, and getting into east central portions there of New Mexico, maybe even to West Texas here as well as we head toward Wednesday evening. And then here, let's look at the Thursday outlook because it's going to be very similar, except maybe farther off to the east here into southern Kansas, Oklahoma, and far northwest Texas here. You can see late afternoon, nothing going on, but then storms will start to fire as we head into very late afternoon toward the dinner time period, especially across the Texas and Oklahoma Panhandle, getting down to West Texas here. And then storms will really start to fire here after dinner into the early evening here across portions of southwestern Oklahoma, the Texas Panhandle around the Lubbock area and Midland, Texas, and then start to slide eastward here towards Wichita Falls as we head towards the mid-evening hours before they start to fall apart here with the loss of, you know, daytime heating. So the atmosphere will start to stabilize during that time. But during that time, we do have a lot of instability, a lot more instability on Thursday than on Wednesday here, and even on the Tuesday outlook for the East Coast. So there's a lot of instability coming into play across this area, across southern Kansas, into the west central portions of Oklahoma, northwest Texas, west central Texas here. And this will be west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, kind of trying to get up close to the Oklahoma City metro area, but maybe just staying a little farther off to your west. But instability values in general here around 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram. So some, you know, moderate and strong destabilization in the atmosphere here with strong daytime heating. However, there will be a little bit of a cap on the atmosphere here into the surface and in the mixed layer here. The mixed layer showing a little bit of a cap, especially into Oklahoma and central Texas. So we'll have to watch that, see if any of this kind of breaks. If this cap holds strong through the day, we might not see much storm coverage, and that's why I think some isolated thunderstorms are possible, and that will kind of lead to a supercell risk as well. We got a lot of lift in the atmosphere, especially with southward extent here into west central Texas and into far southwestern Oklahoma, and that is where we're really going to see here a lot of that here, the energy start to come together. And if that cap breaks, we could have a few supercell thunderstorms with some very large hail, potentially up to maybe 2 inches in diameter at the strongest type of updrafts, if we get those updrafts to really rise with all those air parcels into the atmosphere. And the other issue that is precluding a more widespread severe weather event here on Thursday is the fact that we're going to have some very weak shear. So these thunderstorms, when they develop, they will not be moving very quickly from the west to the east. These will be probably moving on the order of 20 to 30 miles per hour, not very quickly, as we have wind shear here out of the west and northwest kind of coming in at around 20 to 30 knots. So not very strong here. A little stronger of some shear into portions of central Oklahoma if the storms can kind of get into those areas and maintain themselves. But other than that here, the shear is lacking. So it's kind of a higher cape, lower shear environment as we head into Thursday afternoon across these areas. And the supercell composite value is still pretty decent here a few days out, but it's still not looking at off-the-chart values here, you know, but we're starting to see some values come together across central and western Oklahoma, getting down into northwest Texas to support that supercell and that large hail and wind threat here as we head into Thursday. Then after that time frame moves across, we do kind of have a zonal flow that kind of takes over across much of the U.S. We do have another shortwave trough that'll kind of come in here from the Pacific Northwest and kind of dive down in the desert Southwest and Four Corners region. And then here another kind of shortwave or southern stream shortwave that'll start to move in from the Texas area and kind of meet up with that kind of that trough that'll be pushing in here from the West Coast as we head into Friday afternoon and evening. And right where that does meet here across portions of central central and eastern Kansas, up into southeastern portions there of Nebraska, down through Oklahoma, North Texas, northeastern Texas, including the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, getting up toward Kansas City here, Topeka, Wichita, and then getting up just closer to the Omaha region. We could have some severe weather breakout across the area there. And then here, another stronger low pressure system will kind of develop here on the lee side of the Rockies and move northeastward here into the upper Midwest on Saturday here, bringing another chance for some severe weather farther east into the Mississippi and the Mississippi Valley and into the Mid-South on Saturday. Now, the day 4 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center does have a 15% or equivalent slight risk zone for severe weather across southern and southeastern Nebraska, far western portions there of Missouri, including the Kansas City metro area, and then getting down here into portions of east central Kansas, including Wichita, Topeka, and then getting down here into east central portions of Oklahoma with Tulsa, Lawton, Oklahoma, getting up towards Oklahoma City area in play, and then getting down toward the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex, Denton, Texas, getting down toward Wichita Falls as well as we head into our Friday. And the reason being is because a lot of daytime heating, some strong heating here is going to be occurring. We got temperatures in the lower 90s that could be warming here as we head into Friday afternoon. And we got that southerly flow here in the low levels here from the western Gulf of Mexico. And that will pull in a lot of moisture here. Look at the developing dry line that will be pushing through the central plains. Eastern portions of Kansas and Oklahoma, we could have dew points well into the 60s here. And then you move a few hours westward here into portions of the Panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, and west central Kansas. Dew points will be in the teens and even the single digits. So some very impressive dry line could be setting up shop across those portions of central and eastern Kansas and portions of southern Nebraska, all the way down through central Oklahoma, central Texas, as we head into the late Friday afternoon and early Friday evening time frame here as well. So looking at the Cape values several days out, seeing some values already approaching here, 3,000 to almost 4,000 joules per kilogram from portions of east central Kansas down through especially central portions of Oklahoma. Still some values across central and northern Texas at around 2,000, 2,500, and then some values getting up here into portions of Nebraska as well. A little bit of a surface-based cap, but this cap will be broken here. I will tell you that right now, folks, because this is a very impressive looking dry line. So there will be no problem getting that lift for those air parcels to rise to get all those updraft here in that updraft organization. Look at the surface-based lift here across the central plains here. Very extreme type of values, and that will really kind of lift that lid or that cap off the atmosphere here with those air parcels rising very quickly, and you get some very strong storm activity across the center of the country Friday afternoon and continuing into Friday night. We do have some shear values coming in. We got that trough coming in here from the north. We got that short wave here in the southern stream coming in from the south, and those will meet up here to produce some shear values here, some deep layer shear from the west. Kind of around 35 to 45 knots here, so a decent amount of here, shear overlapping that strong instability, and that will give you that severe weather on Friday. And that is also why the supercell composite values are on the higher end as well, approaching the 30 to 35 type on the higher end of the scale here. So I am pretty confident at least a few supercells will develop across east central Kansas down into Oklahoma on Friday afternoon. And we'll show you that here. This is the composite reflectivity. Maybe a couple supercells developing up here in the portions of southern Nebraska, northwest Kansas, where the atmosphere is very, less capped across those areas. But as we head toward daytime heating and here peak heating of the day, late afternoon, early evening, we'll probably have a line or a broken line of some supercells developing down through Kansas, Oklahoma. Now the GFS run continues to indicate that will not happen and the cap will hold strong. But by looking at the latest other here mesoscale models that are starting to come in here in the medium range, I do feel confident that this will kind of fill in farther to the south, all the way down into far northern Texas, as we do, like I showed you here, we do have a lot of lift in the atmosphere, a very potent dry line, and that will be enough here to really lift those air parcels up for those strong updrafts here on Friday. And that'll continue eastward before starting to wane as we head into Friday evening with the loss of daytime heating and the air mass stabilization across the area. And then that wing of precipitation will kind of move off to the east here with some thunderstorm activity ongoing here as we head into Saturday morning across eastern Iowa, much of the state of Illinois, southwestern Wisconsin, and kind of nosing its way down toward the Tennessee and Ohio valleys as well. And then we got that backwash moisture here around the backside of that strong low of that more snowfall across portions there of the Dakotas and into portions of eastern Wyoming, maybe northern portions there of Nebraska as we head into Saturday as well. I'll get to the snowfall side of it here in just a moment, but you can see the very strong low pressure system here kind of centered around northeastern portions there, Nebraska, southeastern portions of South Dakota, and that'll continue to spiral to the east here towards western and northwestern Iowa, eastern Nebraska here as we head towards Saturday evening, and then they'll continue to meander off to the east here. You can see as you look off to the Pacific Northwest here Sunday morning, another short wave will start to move in here from the west with another short wave trough. And that will be here bring continued rounds of severe weather across the center and center of the country as we head into the here late week, into the late part of the weekend as well, and then into early next week here as we have another kind of dig in the jet stream here from the north and west, another trough. Several of these troughs will be kind of moving in. You get a little period of a ridge, and then you get another trough here with shortwave energy that kind of pushes in from the west as well. And looking as we head into Saturday, some instability values pretty high up into the Texas region from east central and southern Texas all the way into the mid-south here of regions with, on general about 2,000 to 2,500, maybe locally 3,000 joules per kilogram here across portions of east central Texas. And then some values getting up into southern Illinois, portions of the foothills there of Missouri, into the western Ohio Valley and the western Tennessee Valley as well. Kind of more on the range of 1,000 to 2,000 there as well. So enough instability. And then with northward extent where the instability does overlap into portions of southern Illinois and the foothills there of Missouri, maybe northern Arkansas, you do have a little bit more of that shear here with the effective bulk shear kind of approaching 50 knots across these areas. So some storm organization here is possible kind of with those arcing bands of storms. And then the instability will start to retreat more to the south here with that front that'll come through. A cold front will kind of move through the Midwest and the mid-Mississippi Valley region, and here's setting up shop for some more instability and energy for storms on Sunday farther to the south again from Texas into Oklahoma, Arkansas through the mid-south and the Tennessee Valley. And then that shear kind of a little more displaced on Sunday, more to the north, but still some values across the south to have maybe a more isolated to scattered type of severe weather event and set up as we head into Sunday afternoon here as well. With that low, like I was saying, on the back side, we do have all that snowfall here with the backwash moisture here wrapping around that strong low pressure system, all that cold air coming in with another trough as we head into our Sunday time frame that I was showing you. And in the upper elevations, especially back toward Montana, getting into Idaho, could have some several inches of snow, maybe up to a foot in spots. But then on the backside of that low, into portions of western and central portions of North Dakota, into western and central portions of South Dakota, into northeastern Wyoming, southeastern Montana, maybe even getting into far northern and northwestern portions there of Nebraska, could have several inches of snow, potentially up to 8 to 10 inches again across those zones as we head all the way through Sunday evening. So another type of shovelable, and even here getting the snow blowers out across those areas as well here. And it's kind of crazy to talk about here because we're going into early May as we head toward the Sunday Monday time frame as well. You do got that potent trough, like I said, coming in. A lot, temperatures in those areas are 25 to maybe even approaching 30 degrees below the norm for this time of year. So that is going to be here kind of why we're seeing all that snowfall. And that'll dig down into the central plains. I mean, portions of Kansas all the way down into almost Oklahoma here, 20 to 30 degrees below the norm here for this time of year. And then, over toward the Chicago area, getting in towards, the Quad Cities in Iowa, and then getting back into Missouri about 15 to 20 degrees below normal. Then we got another broad type of ridge developing behind that here as we head through, early portions of May. That trough will continue to slowly move up into Canada here and kind of move down through the Great Lakes. We got a very large ridge that is expected to develop across the western 2/3 of the country and all the way up into Canada. That jet stream will push all the way up to the north and then sag all the way down here to the Gulf Coast states as we head into our, late Wednesday time frame here going into May 4th. And that'll continue to shift to the east, but then another trough is becoming evident here on most of the model guidance here as we head towards, the 4th, 5th, 6th time frame here of May, and that is concerning, especially as we have that very large ridge starting to move into the center of the country here, and that will set up shop for potentially another classic here setup of severe weather as we head into May. And I do believe that here there's some trends going on in the models, the long-range models going into the 4th, 5th, 6th, maybe even the 7th time frame here of May, in the early, the first week or so of May, that we do have a very potent ridge developing, like I said, in the middle of the country. We got a very strong trough here coming in off the west coast, and when those two meet here in the center of the country and into the Mississippi Valley region, we'll have to watch that here as we head toward the late of the following week here into early May here, because that may be our next chance for a higher end type of event. Now, it is a lot of farther out here to say, this area is going to get this and this area is going to get that, but it is something here we do have to monitor as we head into early May, and I'll keep you updated on that here in future updates. Like I said, we do have all those warm temperatures starting to, move in. We got that here Western Gulf kind of open for business. We got dew points all the way up into southern Canada here into the lower and middle 50s here. We even got some 60-degree dew points as far north as, Oklahoma and to Texas. And then that'll only continue to surge to the north here around that Friday, the May 6th time frame here, with dew points all the way up into the upper 50s to near 60, all the way up to the Canadian border and into portions of North Dakota, into western and northwestern portions there of Minnesota, and extending down through the central and southern plains, the Missouri Valley, and then I'll kind of shift to the east into portions of the Mississippi Valley, down through the western Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, and into portions of the southeast as we head toward the following weekend potentially here as well. And I'll show you that we got a very big trough potentially developing with a very large ridge, an expansive ridge, probably one of the strongest ridges we've had all year so far across portions of the country. And we very well could see widespread 80s across most of the central and southern plains, getting into the lower Missouri Valley, down through the Gulf Coast states, some 90s being shown, maybe even 100-degree temperatures here being introduced once again into Texas, with all that warm, moist air here being pulled northward, and you got that very strong trough potentially coming in. But generally here, all the way through the end of April, this is where you can expect the most of your precipitation here across most of the northern plains, getting into the Midwest region here, the mid-Mississippi Valley, down through the Missouri Valley here. Not much precipitation expected here across portions, of the deep south or into the portions of the southwestern, desert southwest or Four Corners region here. So no welcome news for any rainfall, unfortunately, for those areas. But we are going to see some rainfall across portions, like I said, the middle of the country and northern portions of the country into the northeast, with kind of the storm track zone here with a parade of storms across the northern to central portions here of the country as we head into that end of April into early May type of time frame. So I do appreciate you guys watching. Thank you very much here for watching my videos. Do be sure to like my video, give me a nice thumbs up here, leave your comments and questions here below. I'll be able to answer those. And do remember to subscribe to my channel here. I do appreciate it. I am trying to get over 100 subscribers, so thank you for helping me out here, and I'll catch you on the next video here with the next long-term update here of my weather forecast. So everybody have a great Tuesday out there.